Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Knowledge. I'm James Baggott, I'm the founder of Car Dealer Magazine, and today we're talking about test drives in a post-coronavirus world. Now, joining me for this are Ignition's Managing Director, Rob Forsyth, and Commercial Director, Simon McDermott. Good afternoon, chaps.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for joining me. Really appreciate you giving up the time to chat about this. Now, firstly, Rob, let's turn to you. Explain to me what the actual problem is with car dealers conducting test drives at the moment.
I think it's a reasonably obvious problem, really, that traditionally test drives have always been accompanied. So a customer comes into the dealership, asks to test drive a car, a salesman goes out with him, they take a half an hour drive round and the salesman talks about the car, and we go back to the dealership and hopefully sign the deal. The problem nowadays, of course, is that the world is coming to realise that having somebody else in close proximity in this kind of socially distanced world, perhaps that isn't a viable solution anymore. So I think everybody is chasing around trying to think of what the right solution is, and it's a difficult one to solve.
And I suppose the problem is that the test drive in a car dealership is absolutely crucial to the car sales process. It has been for so many years. It's a time where the customer and the salesman can really get to know each other. So removing that from the sales process is a little bit of a problem. And I can see why a lot of dealers are a little bit nervous about that. Can you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's there's lots of anecdotal evidence and research that's been done, but something like 75% of people who test drive a car go on to buy it. So imagine taking that away or increasing that amount of uncertainty that says, actually, you don't need a test drive, Mr. Customer. What you just need to do is sign on the dotted line and drive the car away. So I certainly wouldn't buy a car without test driving it, and I don't know anybody else that would. So I think that's the issue that everybody's facing and everybody's grappling with at the moment, is trying to come up with a viable solution that allows them to undertake a test drive in this socially distanced world. I think everybody's worried about it, and solutions are hard to come by.
Thank you for that, Rob. I'm going to turn to Simon. I mean, Simon, at the moment, dealers have been told that they're allowed to offer customers test drives on their trade plates, but it means sending out a customer on their own, driving a car, not knowing anything about it, not getting any information. That's not really the best way of doing things, is it? I've spotted your solution online. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So perhaps you could just explain how it works.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you mentioned there, James, it would be a bit of a leap of faith, I think, for dealers at the moment to hand over the keys and say goodbye. Of course, you hope your customer's going to come back, but it's, as Rob mentioned, it's that connection with the car and talking to the customer about the car and what's happening whilst you're driving. And that's the key part of the salesperson's kind of experience and a part of their armoury. So what we have an app called CoDriver. It's an app that we've had since 2005. We come from the events industry, so we're involved in lots of automotive manufacturer launch events, training events, and we're on the 5th generation of this app now, but we use that on our events as a way of imparting knowledge, imparting key information to the dealer network about the car they're driving, about the products they're driving, the technology, how it's driving, when it's driving. The key part about CoDriver is the fact that it imparts the right bit of information at the right time. So when you're out on that test drive, if you need to talk about a particular function in the car, how it's driving, what it's doing, or a bit of technology, because we use GPS technology with it, it gives you that bit of information at the right time. So it's not random. It's not just general information. It's specific to that piece of that test drive route or where you are on the route. So it combines key product information with precise route navigation as well. It's very clever, but it's actually quite simple.
So, Simon, talk to me about the actual specifics of how this works. I'm sat in a dealership. I'm worried about setting up a test drive. I don't want to send off customers in on their own on my trade plates. How can I use this solution to offer them that service? And I mean, what are the benefits of it?
Well, I mean, there's a number of ways in which it can be done. I mean, it does entail having a device in the car. So we put an iPad in the car. You don't see the iPad; it's discreetly positioned, and then effectively, it's a menu. It's a menu choice. So once you've decided, what vehicle it is, what your route is, it's a menu-driven choice. So it's a simple. I think it's 3 clicks. I think we say it's 3 clicks to find the car you want and the route you want to take. And as long as obviously there's work behind that, James, of course, there is, in terms of understanding what the dealer's route is, where they want to go. That's all plotted. and the content, what they want to say, it's plotted, it's all there. You press 3 clicks and you're away. So you're on your drive, and effectively, whilst your customer is out on the route, and it can be your route, your test drive route, because we all know dealers have their preferred routes. Once you're out on that route, they're hearing the precise navigation, so they know where to go. I'm going to worry about that. But they're also hearing about the car, about the product that they're driving. So it solves for us. It solves that issue of the unaccompanied test drive, because we're putting someone virtually in there to talk to them. So I think, as we've all seen, there's lots of different ways. I think that these are looking at doing an unaccompanied test drive. Some of them, involve putting someone in the back of the car. Is that going to work? I don't know. I don't know. But actually, no. I think it's a tricky one, isn't it? But this is a smart use of technology. That's what it is. I think that's what we're going to be looking at now, is thinking, how can we do things differently and better with the technology, because it's not going to change in the short term. We know that. So there has to be a different way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right there. There definitely needs to be some thought around how to do this differently. Some of the dealers I've spoken to have thought that they can put a salesperson in the back seat with a mask on, but actually, there's not many cars that are 2 meters between the back seat and the front seat, is there? So that does certainly make that quite difficult. Rob, let me just turn to you. You've obviously been using this solution for some time. Probably dealers actually might be quite used to it if they've been on one of your launches. What feedback are you getting from the people that you're talking to at the moment about this solution?
They absolutely love the idea, James. I mean, it's really good to see that feedback coming through from the actual people who experience it. Certainly on the events that we've run in the past, the sales guys who are coming out are actually saying, God, wouldn't this be good if we could use it on our test drives at our dealership? So and it's all been one of those things that we've always had in our mind to pursue, but now it seems to us the ideal moment. It really is kind of the opportunity to make or break, perhaps. It's got that opportunity, and it's got that tapping into the zeitgeist, if you like, of the moment, and it's solving a solution or a problem that is real. It's not a theoretical one or one that might happen. It really is. How is the test drive going to look going forward into the future?
And was this a result of the COVID-19 crisis for your firm? I mean, we've all had to make big changes to our businesses. Was this the case of you sitting down and going, right, I need to do something differently here, and spotting an opportunity and reacting to that?
I think a bit of that, yeah. I mean, for sure, you look around and you think, what have we got that we can, use in a world where events are obviously going to look a bit different for at least I think the rest of 2020. So can we look at what we're using in a different way and deploying it to help the world in a different way going forward throughout this period? So, but equally, I think, hopefully once people have experienced it, we won't talk about it during the COVID crisis. We'll talk about how can test drives be looked at going into the future.
It's certainly something that's been traditional for a long period of time. As a lot of stuff has changed over the course of COVID-19. Rob, what about if dealers aren't very tech savvy? I mean, do you have to be a programmer to make this work?
Well, I can work it, James. So I think the answer to that is no. So, I mean, it really is, as Si said, the clever bits go on behind the scenes. And yes, we have some very clever people doing the background work to make sure that everything is set up. It doesn't take long for them, by the way. This really is a question of plotting a route and then locating pins on the route and dropping the files onto it. So it's not a complicated process. But once you're actually in the dealership, and once the thing is set up, it really is a question, as Si said, of 3 clicks. So it's a couple of drop-down menus and go, and the customer is ready to go. So this is not a time-consuming process to set up. It's not sensitive. It literally is, a plug and play.
So, Simon, is this for new or used cars, and is it model specific, or is it a case of you can take that iPad out of one car and put it into another one?
Absolutely, yeah. It's applicable to both. So it's new and used. It's just about the model. So there's obviously, as I said, there's some work behind the scenes in terms of what you say about the car, but no, it works across both new and used, whatever model.
And Rob, lastly, do you think this is going to change the way dealers are going to work and offer test drives forever?
I'd like to think so, James. I mean, I think if I walked into a dealership even 2 or 3 months ago, and someone gave me the option of, do you want to go out with the salesman and on around, or do you want to go by yourself? And we'll send a device with you that will tell you a bit about the car and a bit about the route and navigate you around it. what would I prefer? And I always think, okay, it's a straw poll of one person, but I would take the unaccompanied option every time. I think it gives me that freedom. I can make my own decisions. I can play with the buttons without feeling I'm being watched or whatever, or I can even make a mistake. I can kind of, think, where does the handbrake, or, much less pressure to do it in my own time and in my own way. So for me, it's a win-win situation deploying this. Yes, it covers the initial problem that we're suffering at the moment, but equally it solves a longer term problem, which is, do customers really want to be with a salesman driving around a route at the time? Yes, it's a good opportunity for the salesman to bond with the customer, et cetera, but I think from the customer's point of view, it really is a better solution, I think, to go down the unaccompanied route with CoDriver deployed in the car too.
I think it's an absolutely fascinating solution, and congratulations on spinning things so you can offer the motor trade something different when they need it most. I wish you both the best of luck with it.
Fantastic.
Thanks, James.
Thank you very much to the guys for telling us about that. And if you want more information, you can email the team. It's info@ignitiononline.com, or you can visit their website. It's www.coguide.net. That's coguide.net. Or give them a call on 01279 201100. And for more car dealer knowledge videos like this one, log on to cardealermagazine.co.uk. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.